In this video, I want to talk about what slipping rib syndrome actually is. It kind of frustrates me that it's called slipping rib syndrome because that title doesn't do justice to the amount of pain and suffering that this can cause. When you say slipping rib syndrome, it sounds like, a rib has slipped slightly out of place. It sounds like it's uncomfortable. It doesn't sound painful. What frustrates me even more is there are a lot of people, and it's not their fault, but there are people, particularly chiropractors and physiotherapists, on YouTube. I've seen the videos where they have these videos of like popping a rib back into place, or and they say, that they've cured slipping rib syndrome. Okay, somebody might have a rib that's slightly out of place and you can put it back. But if you have slipping rib syndrome, it is completely different from what it sounds like. So slipping rib syndrome is where you have your ribs 1 to 7, which are connected from your spine at the back to the front, and it's bone to bone. They're connected to your sternum, which is here. Then you have ribs 8, 9, and 10 below, which are connected to 7 and the sternum with cartilage. And then below that you have ribs 11 and 12, which are called floating ribs. They're not connected at all. They're connected to the spine, but not to the front. And what happens with slipping rib syndrome is that the cartilage that holds the ribs to the sternum breaks. It becomes very, very loose, or it breaks completely. In my case, it's broken completely. And then those ribs start to move around. They sometimes sublux, which means that they move under ribs above them, which is very painful. Sometimes they will they rub on nerves, so the intercostal nerves which run between the ribs themselves get aggravated, and that can cause obviously nerve pain, which is very odd and very, very debilitating. Because the ribs are not attached at the front, they move more at the back. So a guy who is a fellow sufferer that I've been talking to in California, he has symptoms very, very similar to mine, described it as being like a bucket handle, which I think is a really good analogy, because if you have a bucket and the one handle breaks, there's gonna be movement, that affects the other side, and it's going to put more pressure on the other side. So it puts more pressure on the back, and some people get pain in their spine, where obviously the back of the rib is moving around a lot. Slipping rib syndrome is not very widely understood by the medical world. There are doctors that believe that rib cartilage can't break, that's impossible. There are people that think that we're making this up, that it's not real. There are doctors that confuse slipping rib syndrome with costochondritis or Tietz syndrome, which is where the ribs normally 1 to 7, which are the ribs that are connected, get inflamed, and the costal cartilage between them is very, very tender. That is something that can appear on its own. It's horrible. It can mimic a heart attack. I've had that twice, and it's really not nice. But it can also be a symptom of slipping rib syndrome, one of many symptoms of slipping rib syndrome. A syndrome is something that has lots of symptoms. That's why a slipping rib is different from slipping rib syndrome. Quite often you start with a slipping rib and it doesn't give you much bother, and then it can progress into slipping rib syndrome, and the cartilage disappears completely, and not disappears, but it comes away completely. That cartilage itself as well, because it's not connected, it rubs on things, it is dangling around, and it is causing a lot of pain and discomfort. Um, some people who have slipping rib syndrome have gastro symptoms. They have diarrhea and bloating and lots of wind. Um, some people have abdominal pain in the front. Some people have pain in the back. Some people have pain in the flank at the side. And some people have all of those symptoms. Some people don't get pain at all, but they have the popping sensation where they can actually feel the ribs moving under each other. Sometimes that causes pain and sometimes it doesn't. It's usually ribs 8, 9, and 10. 9 and 10 seem to be the most common. It does appear to be more common in athletes because obviously athletes are sort of swimmers in particularly. I'm just telling you this from medical papers and journals that I've read. Swimmers in particularly because I'm not going to do it because it's going to hurt me, but obviously that motion. And I've read some medical journals that say that it affects men and women equally. Some medical journals that say it affects women more than men. Some medical journals say that it affects adolescents more than adults. So it's really, really clear to me, even from reading those journals written by doctors, that this is not understood. And it is hard to understand because it doesn't show up on x-rays, it doesn't show up in blood tests, it doesn't show up in CT scans or normal ultrasound or MRI. So part of me understands why doctors think, it's not real, the pain isn't there, there's nothing causing it. But it causes me a lot of frustration that the medical world still doesn't recognize that this is a thing, and that it does cause pain and that it's very, very debilitating. The good news is that recently Dr. Adam Hansen in West Virginia in the US he's a surgeon and he's amazing, and he has formulated surgery which is called the Hansen technique to fix this. You can see videos of the surgery. They're not for the faint-hearted, but if you want to see the surgery, there's surgery videos from him and also from Joel Dunning, who is in the UK, showing the surgery. Lots of people in SRS groups have had the surgery and have recovered amazingly. Some people have had SRS for many, many years and suffered hugely, and the surgery has really improved not only the pain but the quality of life. And one of the most frustrating things is that SRS can be diagnosed really easily using something called the hooking maneuver. Any doctor can diagnose this. They just need to know that it exists and what it is. So I think a lot of us sufferers are sort of really trying to persuade the medical world that this is a thing and trying to educate people. Joel Dunning, who hopefully will be my surgeon, does some amazing videos on his channel. Dr. Hansen has some amazing videos. And there is proof out there that from this surgery people can recover. So if you are a doctor or you're a physiotherapist or a chiropractor or anybody in the medical or paramedical world, please take time to read about SRS, because there are lots of people out there that have this that don't even know that they do, and they have really difficult lives. If you think you have slipped rib syndrome, one of the hard things that you're going to find is convincing your doctor that it exists and it's real and that you're not crazy. It's really important for me to help other people that are in the same situation as me. I want to advocate for these people, and I want to help as many people as I can. And even if I can only help one person to get diagnosed with this and to get help and to have a pain-free life again, I will be happy with that. I have a lot of medical articles and journals that I can send to you, that you can take to your doctor, that will help to show them that yes, this is a real thing. These are articles that are written by doctors all across the world, and I have a lot of resources. I also have a list which I didn't do myself. It was compiled by the amazing people in the Slipping Rib Syndrome Facebook group, which is an amazing resource. So I would suggest that you join that if you do think you have this. There is one in the US, one in the UK. I will put those in the comments. You can find all of the stuff that I have, that I've talked about. All of the articles and journals are on and from those pages. But if you want me to send them to you directly, I can do that. Like I said, I have a list of every doctor in the US, UK, Europe, and Canada that deals with slipping rib syndrome. I didn't do that list myself. I don't know the name of the person that did, but it's on the group. And if you need to be pointed in the right direction, I can send that to you. If you have any questions about slipping rib syndrome, or you need to be pointed in the direction of something, please contact me. I think I'm not really that great with YouTube, to be honest. You can probably tell, but you can send me a message, or you can write in the comments, and I will try to help you as much as I can.